Hi there. I'll figure out an intro sequence later. Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann is unwatchable trash. Lots of people don't seem to think so, but I do, so I'm going to tell you about it. The first and possibly most controversial problem with Laganya is that it has giant robots. Now, I need you to follow me on this. Giant robots are stupid. It practically never makes sense to build them because there's almost always a better way to accomplish any given thing. Huh? Well, maybe you should consider that your face is a cheap use of qualifiers. Anyway, look, there are times in every anime where it wants to be taken seriously, and that's just not going to happen if there's all these dumbass giant robots running around. Obviously, whoever wrote this trash didn't care enough about believability to take 2 seconds and at least give an excuse. It's just bad writing. It was bad writing in all the gun drops. It's bad writing in Garrett Langley and in Ivan Negligee. Guess what? It was, well, actually, they were using them to fight giant monsters or whatever, so, like, that's fine. That's why we have qualifiers. In Transfinders, they just are giant robots, so that's, like, technically alright. What was I talking about? Dun dun dun! So, Titiggle's version of bog standard, ill-defined, extremely convenient anime magic is called Spiral Energy. And normally that'd be fine, except that it has a super arbitrary drawback, i.e., the universe ends if there's too much of it. All of the conflict in the show comes about as a result of the actions of the so-called anti-spirals, a race of spiral-powered beings who commit intergalactic genocide against anything else with spiral power. If I go into too much detail, I'll get bored, but the TLDR is that there is no way that the Anticipers could have known about the spiral nemesis, their cutesy little nickname for the end of the universe, unless it was from experience. But even if we assume they did know in advance, physics don't work like that, and the nemesis spiral wouldn't have happened. But even if it did happen anyway, it wouldn't really be a problem in the way the antispacs think it would, because of how black holes work. But even if they knew, and it did happen like that, and it was a problem, it's still ridiculously avoidable, and any species intelligent enough to understand spiral power would have figured that out. All in all, it's super contrived, and at least for me, it ruins the whole show. And speaking of things that ruin the whole show, let's talk about the characters. Starting with the worst, lamest, most insufferable character that everybody who isn't me seems to love for some reason. A tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la, ha 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 ha. Cameron is so forced and so dumb. He talks about being manly all the time, like that's supposed to mean anything, and he never does anything memorable. And just when the show tries to make you think that he'll have like an actual relationship with the sniper lady, he dies like a chump and leaves everyone else with his mess. Okay, a major pet peeve for me is dumbasses who think they're hot shit. So I just really don't like him. But then he comes back from the dead at the end to save the day. Worst character, bar none. You've got to go and dig those holes. The main kid's character arc is adequate, but he's a useless little shit to start out, and then suddenly not, with no in between. The pig thing creeped me out. None of the characters in Gatalingan feel like real people. Kramino was the worst offender in this regard, obviously, but Yo-Yo is probably the most believable. In fact, she's so realistic that I wonder if she's been ripped from a better anime. Ha 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 ha. No, she's pretty cool until she turns out to be evil for no reason and then freaking dies. The whole show, there's never been any tension because it shows in the first scene that they go into space. But just when you think like things are going to be okay, she dies. And with that, I guess I've run out of important characters. So, rapid fire, go. Why is this taking so long? I think it's really cool how they took all the feelings of why isn't this loser dead yet and then actually made him immortal. That might be the only time I laughed at anything in this show. The same thing we do every night, Keenon. Try to take over the world. He's supposed to be smart, but he isn't. It's really all there is to him. Kind of annoying. Bad guys. They're poorly conceptualized furry bait, and they're all terrible. Everybody else. No one cares, except it's weird that they all have names. Farewell, my dear. Parting is such sweet sorrow. Okay, there you have it. I don't particularly like tank tops growing longer. You guys, it's just not going to be in my top 10 list. If you decide not to subscribe to my channel, I'll forgive you this time because I'm recording, editing, and uploading this video with my toaster, and I do not need the extra pressure. I'm sure you understand. If you have any thoughts at all on the things I talked about, I'm sure you'll find some way to get them to me, but just in case, there's always the comment section. I really hope to do more of these things, preferably on other things I care about. Oh god, now I have to edit this.